The year 2025 began not with celebration, but with an eerie silence that settled over Los Angeles. Instead of fireworks and cheers, the city awoke to an unsettling quiet, as if the world itself was holding its breath. Los Angeles, a city known for its endless blue skies, was gasping for air beneath a suffocating blanket of smoke and ash. The city, famous for its sunshine and palm trees, was now shrouded in a thick orange haze that blotted out the sun and turned day into a perpetual twilight. Hurricane-force winds whipped through the city, turning tiny sparks into roaring infernos that leapt from hill to hill with terrifying speed. These fires were monsters, devouring everything in their path: homes, memories, entire neighborhoods, leaving nothing but scorched earth behind. From the iconic Hollywood Hills to the sprawling valleys, the landscape was transformed into a disaster zone. This was no movie set, this was real life, and the devastation was total. Ash rained down from the sky, blanketing cars, homes, and palm trees in a ghostly gray, as if the city itself was mourning. Over 50,000 acres burned in just days, forcing 150,000 people to flee their homes with only minutes to gather what they could carry. Highways became rivers of headlights as families escaped the advancing flames. Sirens wailed through the night and day, as exhausted firefighters battled the relentless flames, risking their lives to save what little they could. Helicopters swooped low over burning hills, dropping streaks of red fire retardant that painted the smoky sky in desperate attempts to halt the fire's advance. Entire neighborhoods were reduced to blackened skeletons, with only lonely chimneys standing as silent witnesses to what once was. The air itself became a threat, thick with toxic pollutants that made every breath a struggle, especially for the young and the elderly. As the smoke finally began to lift, it revealed not just physical destruction, but a deeper crisis simmering beneath the surface. The flames had ignited a social catastrophe, pouring fuel on LA's already desperate homelessness crisis, leaving thousands more without shelter or hope for the future. Even before the wildfires, Los Angeles faced a monumental challenge: the largest homeless population in the U.S., with over 75,000 people unhoused in 2024. More than 50,000 lived unsheltered, in tents, cars, or makeshift shelters. The city's affordable housing crisis was already at a breaking point. Then the fires struck, turning crisis into catastrophe. Experts warned the wildfires could double LA's homeless population, not just from destroyed homes, but from ripple effects across the housing market. With 12,000 homes lost, thousands of families scrambled for shelter in an impossibly tight market. For every 100 extremely low-income households, there were only 21 affordable rentals even before the disaster. Landlords displaced by fire sometimes moved into their own rentals, forcing tenants out. For many, a rent hike or eviction was all it took to fall into homelessness. The fires didn't create LA's housing crisis, but they poured gasoline on it, threatening a new generation of homeless residents. Every statistic hides a personal tragedy. Behind each number is a family, a lifetime of memories, and a story forever changed by disaster. Take a family in the San Fernando Valley. Already struggling to make ends meet, they fled their home with only minutes to spare, grabbing what little they could. They watched on TV as flames consumed everything they'd worked for, powerless to stop it. Now they live in a crowded shelter, their savings gone, unable to find a new rental amid fierce competition and soaring deposits. The uncertainty is overwhelming, and every day brings new challenges: finding food, keeping children calm, and searching for hope. They're not officially homeless, yet, but they're living in limbo, one step from sleeping in their car. Each night they wonder if tomorrow will bring relief or more heartbreak. Homeowners fared little better. Many discovered too late that insurance payouts covered only a fraction of rebuilding costs. Some face impossible choices: take on crushing debt or give up the place they called home. For some, the only option is to abandon their land and start over elsewhere, leaving behind a lifetime of memories and community ties. For older residents, rebuilding isn't even an option. The physical and emotional toll is simply too great, and the resources too few. The fires have deepened inequality, pushing those already on the edge, the renters, the working poor, the underinsured, into freefall. Many are left with nothing but uncertainty and fear for what comes next. Wealthier residents may rebuild, but thousands face a future that's a terrifying blank page, unsure if they'll ever recover what was lost. The loss of a home is more than physical. It's the loss of stability, community, and hope. It's the unraveling of the fabric that holds lives together. For many in LA, that future is now uncertain and frightening. The scars left by the fires are not just on the land, but on the hearts of those who must find a way forward. For LA's 50,000 plus unsheltered residents, the fires brought a unique terror. There was no evacuation order, no safe place to run, just canyons, riverbeds, and underpasses directly in the path of flames. The air became poison. Public health officials urged people to stay indoors, but for those outside, there was no escape. In Skid Row, air quality reached 14 times the federal limit, worsening chronic illnesses. Outreach teams distributed thousands of N95 masks and evacuated over 500 people from interim housing and fire zones. For many, it was a double displacement, forced to leave even the temporary shelter they'd fought to secure. The fires destroyed not just homes but the fragile support systems of encampments, scattering communities and leaving people isolated. Belongings, documents and connections were lost in an instant. For LA's unhoused, the wildfires stripped away the last vestiges of safety and stability. This was not a distant disaster, it was a daily life-threatening reality. Los Angeles, once a city of glamour and sunshine, now greets visitors with a wounded landscape. Iconic skylines are obscured by smoke and the air carries the acrid scent of fire. Popular hiking trails and parks are closed, and outdoor plans are upended. The postcard image of LA has been replaced by a somber reality, one where homelessness is more visible than ever. Tourists see more encampments, more people sleeping in cars, and a city struggling to recover. It's jarring, but also a powerful lesson in the human cost of disaster. For thoughtful travelers, it's a chance to witness LA's resilience. Volunteers handing out food, LA strong signs in windows, and a community determined to heal. Visiting LA now means seeing past the Hollywood facade to the city's true spirit, tough, compassionate, and fiercely determined. A trip here is no longer just a vacation, it's an encounter with a city in its most challenging chapter. The 2025 wildfires are part of a grim pattern in California, a state that has become all too familiar with the devastation and upheaval caused by these disasters. Each year, the fires seem to grow more intense, leaving communities on edge and wondering if they'll be next. Past disasters like the Camp Fire in Paradise and the Tubbs Fire in Santa Rosa show that recovery is painfully slow, and the impact on housing can last for years, even decades. These fires don't just destroy buildings, they unravel the fabric of entire communities, leaving scars that are visible long after the flames are gone. Paradise lost nearly 15,000 homes in 2018. 6 years later, only a fraction have been rebuilt, and many survivors never returned. The empty lots and charred foundations are a stark reminder of how difficult it is to restore what was lost, both physically and emotionally. Homeless shelters destroyed by fire were never replaced, leaving the most vulnerable with nowhere to go. For those already struggling, the fires made a hard life even harder, and the lack of resources meant many simply fell through the cracks. In Santa Rosa, homelessness spiked a year after the fire, as aid ran out and temporary housing options vanished. Families who once had stable homes found themselves in shelters or living out of cars, facing an uncertain future. Over a third of the local homeless population traced their situation directly to the disaster. The fires didn't just take homes, they upended lives, forcing people into homelessness who had never experienced it before. These precedents warn that LA's full crisis may not be seen for years. The true impact of the fires will unfold slowly, as the housing shortage deepens and more families struggle to find stability. Rebuilding 12,000 structures will take a decade or more, with thousands competing for scarce housing. The process is long, expensive, and complicated by labor shortages and rising costs, making recovery even more challenging. Without massive, sustained intervention and a focus on affordable housing, the fires will fuel a long-term rise in homelessness. The cycle will repeat unless bold action is taken to address the root causes and support those most at risk. LA isn't just fighting the aftermath, it's battling a historical pattern of disaster-driven displacement, and the choices made now will shape the city's future for generations to come. In the face of devastation, Los Angeles revealed its true character. Neighbors opened homes to evacuees, organized donation drives, and volunteered at shelters. LA County launched an emergency centralized response center to coordinate aid for the homeless. Mobile clinics provided medical and mental health care to those displaced. Bob Hope Patriotic Hall became a shelter for 150 homeless veterans, while outreach teams distributed motel vouchers to get people off the streets. This rapid, compassionate response saved lives and offered dignity amid chaos. Even in its darkest hour, Louisiana's spirit shone through, neighbors helping neighbors, united by resilience and compassion. As the smoke clears, Louisiana faces the daunting and complex task of rebuilding, not just homes but lives and entire communities. The loss of 12,000 structures has left a massive and painful hole in the housing market. For homeowners, the process is a bureaucratic maze of insurance claims and permits. For many, it's simply unaffordable and overwhelming. The city must rebuild quickly and equitably, prioritizing affordable housing to prevent permanent displacement for thousands. This is a chance to rethink how and where we build, using fire-resistant designs and addressing the root causes of the housing crisis. Recovery will require patience, resources, and a shared vision for a more resilient and united LA. The outpouring of support has been inspiring, but the real test is sustaining it for the long haul ahead. Success will be measured not just by rebuilt houses, but by how well LA cares for its most vulnerable residents. Amid loss and uncertainty, Louisiana's spirit remains a beacon of hope. The fires have wounded the city, but not broken it. Instead, they've sparked unity and resolve. Everyone can help. Donate to reputable organizations, volunteer at shelters, or support local businesses struggling to recover. Travelers can show compassion and patience, supporting the local economy as a powerful act of solidarity. The greatest hope for LA lies in its people and a renewed commitment to lasting change. The fires have revealed both our fragility and our capacity for kindness. By coming together, we can ensure Los Angeles rises from the ashes, stronger, more compassionate, and more united than ever.